Hello, Dr. Usko. This is Sushma Dadi from Team 4. Uh, Today, I would like to give a presentation on top programming languages or platforms for modern software development in 2022. So, now I would like to give an introduction on what is a programming language. So, basically, a language is used for communication purposes. So, a programming language is different from a language that we use on our daily basis. So, programming language involves a set of instructions which are created by a computer programmer, and these programming languages are vary from our basic programming level to the high level programming language, which are used for trained professionals. And these programming languages are used to develop softwares, write scripts, and any other instructions that computers can perform. So this is about just what is a basic programming language. And now we are going to see what are the uses of a programming language. Programming languages are used for many other different purposes. So generally they are used in information technology, and they're also used in field of engineering and designing services, as well as they're also used in automation, uh, in space researches, gaming development, computer graphics, industrial automation, artificial intelligence, data structures, machine learnings, 3D modelings, and so on. So there are many different purposes of programming languages, and different programmers use programming languages differently based on their purpose. So there are many uses for a programming language. So uh, there are some basic skills that are required to become a good programmer or to become an excellent programmer. So here are the top 5 skills. uh, so the first skill is to a programmer should be proficient in any of the core programming languages or basic programming language like C or C++, uh, depending on his or her interest. And a programmer should have some problem solving abilities and some business sense, and the knowledge regarding data structures and algorithms as well, and also need some soft skills. So these are some of the skills that are required to become an excellent programmer. So now we are going to see what are the types of programming languages. So basically, there are two types of programming languages, like low level programming languages and high level programming languages. Machine language and assembly language comes under low level programming languages, whereas high level object oriented, functional oriented, artificial intelligence, these all comes under high level programming languages. So coming to the procedural oriented programming languages, we have COBOL, Pascal, Ada, Algol, Fortran, and so on. Whereas coming to the object oriented, we have like Java, C, Python, Ruby, PHP, and so on. And functional are also like Lisp, Haskell, Erlang, Python. These are all comes under functional programming languages. And Java, C, C++, Python, these are also comes under problem oriented programming languages, whereas scripting programming languages includes JavaScript, TypeScript, CoffeeScript, and so on. These are all like scripting programming languages. And whereas coming to the artificial intelligence programming languages, we use tools or uh, programming languages like Lisp, Veka, and so on. So I think these are the types of the programming languages that we have. So before going forward, I'm going to explain how does a programming language work. So There are 4 steps of a program that defines the working of a programming language. Like the initial step is to write the source code in the type of the environment of the programming language. So the first step is to write the source code and then to run the program. And if the program has any errors or bugs, those are to be rectified, verified, and those are to be removed. And then the program goes to the compilation process, whereas it converts a human text into the computer code. And the last step is to view the output of the code that we have written. So these are the 4 basic steps that defines the working of a programming language, every programming language. So now we are going to see the trending programming languages that we have in our today's world, like PHP, HTML5, CSS, Java, C, C++, and so on. So the top programming languages are Python, C, C++, R, JavaScript, PHP, Go, Swift, and so on. So those are all defined uh, with the uh, ranking and the usage of the languages by the number of users. So Python with 100%, C with 100%, and these are all followed with 99.4, 96.9, Java, C++, and so on. So these are the top 10 programming languages. Now we are going to see what are the most programming languages used used daily. So JavaScript stood in the first position, uh, on the top of the list. Like what are the most used programming languages? Whereas the Java, CSS, Python, PHP follows after the JavaScript, and the least credits goes to the CoffeeScript, Emacs, and Swift as well. So these are these are these are the predictions that we had about the most used programming languages. So now I would like to explain about the Python programming language. So this is a home view version of a Python page uh, before installing the Python. It can be installed both for Windows and Mac users. So Python programming. So what is a Python programming language? It is a most popular and high level programming language. It is object oriented and procedural oriented and functional oriented also. It it uses dynamic typing and a combination of reference counting, and the most usable feature of Python is it detects a garbage collector for memory management. And it is an easily readable language. Its formatting is visually uncluttered and often uses English keywords, whereas other languages use punctuations. And it has some features unlike in many other languages, like it does not use curly brackets to delimit blocks and semicolons, and after statements are allowed, but rarely semicolons are used. And it has fewer syntactic exceptions and special cases than C or Pascal languages. So this is just a basic version of a Python programming. And now we are here we can see the history of the Python programming language. It was initially designed and launched by Guido van Rossum in 1991 and was developed by Python Software Foundation. It was mainly developed for emphasis on code readability, and its syntax allows programmers to express concepts in fewer lines of code rather than thousand and million lines of code. So its version 1.0 was launched on Jan 1994, later then relaunched to 1.5 on December 1997, and then it goes on launching the new versions, and now currently we are using the Python version is 3.111.1. So this is a basic history of a Python programming language. So here we are going to see the features of Python. So we have many features of Python that are provided by Python, like it is simple and easy to learn, it is extensible, embeddable, and it is a functional oriented, object oriented, and procedural oriented. It has many packages and libraries that we can use, and it's a high level language, and it is portable, and it is a free and open source that everyone can use without any charge. And it has an extensive standard library. So these are some of the features that are provided by Python. So that's why it is having so much demand nowadays. So here we are going to see the Python frameworks that are provided. So coming to the Python framework, a framework is a software entity that is used to build web applications. The web framework holds the client side and the server side programming contents, and the server side takes in the databases and their program and their particular controls, while the client side takes in the graphical user interface elements. So the web framework implies a standard procedure in developing websites. So this is comes under what is a Python framework. Then now we are going to see the top Python frameworks like Django, Pyramid Circuits, Picnic, Flask, Web2Py, CherryPy, MorePath, and so on. So these are some of the popular Python frameworks that are available. So now we are going to see a Python library. So before going that, what is a Python library? So a Python library is a collection of pre-compiled codes that can be used later on in a program for some specific well-defined operations without writing the code whenever we want. So we can use the pre-compiled codes whenever we want instead of writing them so every time. So it's a so Python providing a good feature with Python libraries, which contains documentation, configuration data, message templates, classes and values, etc. And a Python library is also a collection of related modules. So Python libraries play a vital role in fields of machine learning, data science, data visualization, and so on, data retrieving, and so on. So this is about a Python library. So here are the top Python libraries that we have, like TensorFlow, NumPy, Scrappy, Pandas, Matplotlib, PyBrain, Skitlearn, and so on. So these are some of the Python libraries which are popular. So coming to the Python editors, an editor is a tool that we write the source code, execute it, and look for the outputs, debug the error codes, and perform the unit test to catch the bugs or gaps in the program. So it's an editing tool for the application of the for the application of any programming language. So an editor is a developer's workspace for carrying out the application development process, which provides convenient options to play around with the program code. So now we are going to see what are the editors that are provided by the Python. So we have like Idle, Sublime Text, Autumn, Replit, PyCharm, and so on. And additionally, we also have Jupyter Notebook, Google Colab, with and also some online editors. So These are some of the editors that we can use for Python. The rest of the part is going to explain by one of our teammate Hemant Kogineni. Thank you, Professor.
Good morning, Professor Usko. I am Hemant Kumar Gogineni from Team 4, and today I would like to give presentation on one of our topics, top 10 programming languages, and I am going to continue from Python compiler. Uh, and the first one is, what is Python compiler? A Python compiler is a program and that converts high-level languages to lower-level language, and these lower-level languages can be understood by computer. And here we have different implementations of Python or CPython, PyPython, and IronPython. And from all these three, CPython is the standard version. And here we have the bytecode, and this was interpreted by Python, and it was saved as .py extension. And this bytecode was converted into machine code by the Python virtual machine so that the machine can understand it code, and later the machine code will be converted to bytecode, and again it will be converted to our .py code so that we will understand how an output will be executed, etc. And going ahead to the next slide, we have different types of Python compilers, and different types of Python compilers or CPython, JPython, which is used for Java, and IronPython for Iron based applications, and ActivePython, PyJS, Nautica, Stackless Python, etc. And going ahead to the next slide, we have pros and consequences of Python. And advantage of Python are simple and easy to learn, and is also portable and extensible, and it also supports object-oriented programming, and it was used for artificial intelligence, and it also have computer graphics, and it also supports big data frameworks, and it also have the testing frameworks, and it also supports data science related applications, and it's have scripting and automation technology too, and it was very popular, and the salary pay is very high. And going ahead into the next slide, we have consequence of Python. Main consequence of Python are speed limitations, and it also do not support multi-threading, and it consumes very high memory, and it's not suitable for mobile and front end development. And here the security is also very low compared to other programming languages, and here work environment is also not good practice, and here the garbage collector leads to memory loss. It also dynamically typed language, and it's slower than other compiled languages, and here it's also have the issues with the design. And going ahead into the next slide, we have top 10 platforms to learn Python, and these are the top 10 platforms used to learn Python, and they are Udemy, Code Academy, Google's Python class, Microsoft free Python course, Coursera, W3 schools, and YouTube. And we also have different platforms to learn Python. And going ahead to the next slide, we have real world examples, and different real world exam companies which are using Python are Netflix, Reddit, Spotify, Dropbox, Quora, Uber, Amazon, Google, YouTube, and Facebook. These are the topmost companies which are using Python for their development and testing. And going ahead to the next slide, we have popularity of Python graph. This is the graph which is shown popularity of Python, and in the green line includes concludes it's Python, and the other programming languages are different in various shown in various colors. And in 2005, about Python is not that much popular, and its popularity was increased from 2005 to 2010 we can observe here, and gradually the popularity of Python was increased from 2005 to 2020 10%, which is a drastical increase. And going ahead to the next slide, we have programming developers which are migrating from their previous work to new work. And here most of the people are migrated to Go and TypeScript and Kotlin Python, and very less members are working on HTML, CSS, other and Ruby and SQL. It's very less con compared to Go and TypeScript Python. And going ahead to the next slide, we have additional information, and this is the sample Visual Studio code which we use to run Python programs. And to run Python programs, we need to download extensions for Python, and we can download those extensions in this extension panel. Mm, and we need to search for Python extension in extension search bar, so that a Python extension will be shown here, and it's already installed in my computer. If you are new to this Python, you need to search for Python and click on install, so that the Python extension will be installed in your computer. And to write Python code, simply you need to create a file, and you can write a simple program here. This is my example code, and we can see our output in the output terminal here. This is the terminal is showing output, welcome to Python coding. This is the welcome to Python coding. And if we give any input, it works on how we write code. If our input is less than 15, it will show high and S. If our input is less than 15, it show no. If we give another input like at the rate and any special character, it will show undefined. It is showing undefined here. And this is the way we check our output in the output terminal. And here is the how a file or how a folder can be opened or created. It's shown in the file folder. And next we have selection. We select all our program in this selection bar, and we can view our command palette or explorer, search bar, or extensions in the Go in the view menu. And next to Go, we have in the Go, we need, if you want to go to another file or folder, we use Go here. And if you want to run our program, simply click on run and start debugging. And here is the terminal. If you want the new terminal to write program, simply go to terminal and click on new terminal. And finally, we have the help bar here. Here, help is used to find any other additional information which can be found in the help menu. And going ahead to the next slide, we have conclusion. Finally, I conclude that Python program is a very fast evolving language and is also useful for human, and it's also provides easy service. And this Python programming is mostly used for front-end and back-end developments. And here are over 700, more than 700 are using this Python globally. And here the Python has the rich set of error handling routines, and it also supports exception handling, and it also allows to handle errors great. And if anything is went wrong, we can find it easily and we can clarify it very quickly. And it also designed into the original system and programmed at very easy level, and it's easy to program in Python compared to other languages. And here the Python applications are also very useful. And if your program catches any expansion, and to avoid it, we use clean shutdown, etc. And finally, I conclude that Python is the most powerful and very useful language. And going ahead in the next slide, references. And these are the references I have used for my PPT presentation. You can find any data in these references. And thank you, Professor, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.